The reason I decided to paint 100 crows was really to let go of that idea of perfectionism, was to really lean into the process and not so much worry about the product that I was getting. 73. Get my life together. I need to do this. Right now I feel frustrated because I feel like it's taking a lot longer than I wanted it to, but also my crows are getting really good. I'm gonna have to stop here. I'll probably add a few final touches. Pretty good overall. Because if I'm doing 100 crows, even though it's a long journey and like, what was I even thinking? There's always going to be another crow to paint. And I think that's kind of what I want to leave behind for my students as well, is that instead of focusing on trying to create one perfect picture, let's focus on how many mistakes can we fix every time we make a new one. Like how many times can we paint it and then be satisfied with it and enjoy the journey of getting there. Just like I think I stated in the last video, part 1, it's kind of like the idea of having a rough draft. And rough drafts are important for writing, and rough drafts should also be important for artists. But let me tell you, that was a long, it felt, I don't know why, I thought it was only going to take a couple weeks. I thought it was just going to take till the end of winter break, and really it took me almost an entire month, which still is pretty good. But just, I don't know, I think in my head, I always think I'm going to get something done really quickly, and oftentimes it does take longer than I'm expecting it to take. So it's time for me to create crow number 79. I really don't feel like it, but I didn't paint or draw any crows yesterday because I worked really long, and I haven't done it today. So let's at least get one done before we start making dinner. Crow number 79 is not bad, but the head is a little too upright right here. It needs to be more at an angle down. As you can see in the sketch, the head is bobbed down, so it looks a little derpy. Like another crow to paint, and it's so funny because my last and final crow is honestly like, it's a little mid. You guys can see that. It's like, it's okay. Like, it's whatever. Like, it's fine. But there's so many great crows. And I think that was really at the heart of this experiment, was like, how deep can I go? Because I often feel like I'm very good at initiating and starting things and doing things quickly, but sometimes I lack that ability to deepen and grow depth within a concept. And so that's what this was really about. I remember my first year that I was studying art too. I mean, these ones are adorable. My first year was studying art. I did a lot of portraits, and I was studying the human form. And now I feel like it's not that I've mastered that, because there's always so much more to do. But I just feel like it's time for me to study other things. I feel like for me to be a good artist, or for me to be satisfied with my craft and the development of my skills, I really want to be able to look at anything and be able to find the shapes, deconstruct it, and draw it. And so that's why I've kind of shifted to animals too, because I mean, this one's awesome. How cute are they? This one I painted like 5 times, and I still don't know that I quite got the proportions. It's a really weird perspective. These two are adorable. This one with the wing coming up, love. This one looks so funny to me. I don't know why. Don't love it. It still looks good. I think it just wasn't really what I was going for. I captured it a little bit better. We're actually, I don't know why I'm going backwards. This one. But this process, it really helps me, one, learn watercolor, because watercolor is not something I've been super confident in, and it's a medium that I feel like it's very portable, and I love that because I'm usually really busy. So even if I can learn watercolor and learn different techniques and make some really cool art and designs and stuff like that, and stuff like that, it can be really fun to work with just because I can bring it anywhere. This one's landing. But even like, I don't know, it's just so interesting because the more you paint something, like I'm doing these crows, it's like a puzzle piece. You start putting the pieces together. And I learned as I was progressing to use less paint, because some of these I tried using like a white watercolor, which really you can use a little bit, but what you really want to do, I feel like for watercolor, is let the paper come through, and so just trying to create and work with the shadows, it can be pretty challenging. This guy's pretty cool too. So here's one of the first attempts. And I also noticed with crows that a lot of times their highlights are almost like a steel blue, so that's kind of interesting. So some of these kind of have blue to them. This one's pretty cool, just a study of underneath plus the feather. But really it's like also less is more. Less paint, I think, for watercolor is better when you can get your idea across with fewer brush strokes and more of that white paper coming through. I think you can really. And I also experimented too with this one, doing like a wet on wet technique. So just getting it really a very, very slightly pigmented wet surface and then adding a little bit more pigment around it. But yeah, when you really force yourself to draw something multiple times, you really learn how it works. Because just like with the human face, when I was doing those as portraits, I had to look at it from different angles and different expressions and different, people are built different, people look different. We're not all exactly the same. There's different eye shapes, different nose shapes, different proportions, all of that, different hair textures. And even with animals and crows, there's different movements. So crow is going to look much different when it's flying versus when it's perched. So I think that when we look at art, it's funny because we always look at that final piece, that final perspective, that final painting, the final draft, but we don't see, and this is why art is expensive, we don't see all of these drafts. We don't see all of the hours the artist puts in sculpting, puts in their trial and error, all the material, the amount of money and materials and all of that that goes in to a final piece. So it might take, I spent a month studying crows. Now moving forward, it might take me 30 minutes to paint a crow and position it and do all of the things, but that doesn't mean that all of this work doesn't count towards the price of that work. I remember when I was first starting, I got really like focused on the details. And it's easy to get lost. And that's something, I've had to learn with this is my ability to edit, my ability to break down. So another thing that really helped me during this process was actually, and I don't know why I didn't start with this because I feel like I know better. um, but really, when you're starting a new project, when you're starting a new study, something you've never studied before, it's really helpful to sketch it out because sometimes it's easier to do a rough sketch and break down the simple shapes because then you can even darken those simple shapes around the outside and be like, okay. And so once I started doing that, I literally painted like 50 crows before I started doing this part, which is so silly because I know better. But it's like even this, it's like I can see more of the angles. And one thing I wanted to do when I was stylizing, because that's the thing, like after you paint so many and you get the autonomy, then you want to start to stylize it and make it your own. And so I feel like crows are really bold and they're like beautiful, loving creatures. It's like I drew this one so many times because I kept screwing up I needed to, I don't know. I just kept getting it not quite the way I wanted it. They're beautiful, loving animals. They mate for a long time. They have a lot of habits that, they pick. Usually, a lot of times they have their pack. They have their murder of crows. They have their significant other crow. but they're also like fierce. And so I wanted to bring, I really liked it when I started stylizing them to be a little bit more angular, because I just felt that made them look like, this one's cool, but I feel like the edges are soft. Like I wanted them to be angular and sharp because I just felt like it made it more bold, a more bold statement, if that makes sense. Would I do it all over again? Oh, my name is Jessica, by the way. This is my studio. It's a hot mess. I feel like a little troll up here, because I not only do I have my craft stuff up here, my kids' crafts are up here. Like, it is just, I've been decluttering and cleaning, and I feel like stuff has just gotten dumped up here. Beside the point. Would I do it again? Would I paint 100 crows again? Absolutely. In fact, I might paint 100 something else. Let me know, what's the next thing of 100 I should paint? And maybe I'll do that next, because I am here to learn. I was talking to someone and I was like, sometimes I feel like 5 years as an artist is a long time, but really, and granted, maybe it's more like 2.5 years, because I'm a mom, I'm a busy person. I've had to work on my art career in the margins of life, and I have had to do it part-time. So part-time working on my art career for 5 years, sometimes that feels like a long time, but in the grand scheme of things, like, famous artists, people who get known for their art, often don't get discovered until later in life. So I'm like, really, I'm at the beginning of my career. I'm still very new, but I do know a lot more than I did 5 years ago. And that's kind of a discussion for the next video, is just like, sometimes we have these people in our lives. I've had this person in my life that, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, like, they're hard. Like, I have a hard time working with their energy and all of that. But then when I was thinking about, I'm like, why is this person in my life? Really, it was to reflect how much I've grown as an artist, because sometimes I still struggle a little bit with that imposter syndrome. Anyways, so we'll talk a little bit about that in the next video or the one after that. But I'm just going to leave that here. I'm going to leave this here. I have learned so much from drawing and painting 100 crows. I couldn't be more happy with my work. I'm really glad you joined me. And, keep coming back. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay. I'm going to keep folding paper. Folding and folding these adorable cards.